My name is Tamer Zainal Abdin. I am with Surreal Brewing Company. We are one of the first, and we like to say the OG craft non-alcoholic beer companies in the US. So we launched with our very first beer in 2018, June of 2018. After 9 months of intensive R&D, which I was joking before with someone that we thought, it was like, oh, 9 months, it's so long. And I'm listening to everybody else now in the industry, like, oh, we've been working on it for 5 years. I'm like, whoa, I guess 9 months isn't so bad. In our case, we wanted a non-alcoholic beer. We're not tourists. We live here. You know what I mean? This is the world we live in, is the world of non-alcoholic. And a lot of folks kind of got it, and even now I think are getting into it because they think it's an opportunity, which it is, for sure. And that's good for the consumer to be able to have other options. But for us, it's because we wanted a non-alcoholic beer, and nobody cared to make one. You know, so outside of the stuff that's been out for the last 30 or 40 years, which just wasn't very interesting, frankly. Most regards, it was a corporate afterthought, you know, maybe a corporate obligation or a tick mark that they had. And it's not what their core competency was or their real interest or passion. And so the cool part, I mean, for us, I could speak for us, but I think even for the larger brewing community that's starting to get into it, there is some interest. They are trying to put sort of that artisanal slap on it that just didn't exist before. I mean, as a consumer, I enjoy that. As one of the first out there in this space, you know, I feel pretty excited that, you know, when we started, everyone kind of looked at us side-eyed, and now, you know, the crowd is coming, you know, and that part is pretty cool to me. Challenging that convention of thinking is what you are seeing throughout the entire food and beverage space in general, which is cool because, again, it moves the needle, and it gets even the bigger guys to start thinking a little bit differently. I'm still using the tablecloth that we had 3 years ago that has our brand on it, but nowhere on the tablecloth does it say non-alcoholic. And we're like, did we just forget? Why doesn't it say it? And then, you know, we have to kind of go down memory lane, and it's like, no, we didn't say it because we didn't want people walking by to just be like, non-alcoholic beer. And so we wanted to get them closer first. And now what we see is a switch. It's like, oh, I don't drink. I'm like, no, this is for you. Come on in. They're like, oh, it's non-alcoholic. I'm like, oh. So we are really stoked about getting on premise. So we want to be not just in cans, but selling on draft. And so we had a really nice showing. We were the first non-alcoholic beer company to do it at Disney World. And so we sold this beer, the Kolsch. It was on tap. It did really, really well. And I think there's a real opportunity to sort of get that accessibility to folks. There's a lot of great pairings and occasions where you would like a beer, and having a well-crafted, health-forward, non-alcoholic beer I think is a bullseye. So a lot of folks don't know, the way we approached even making our product was based on science. We don't have a special, you know, Whodaddy that you pour it in and it comes out non-alcoholic. We don't do any of that stuff. We actually engineered a process from the ground up, which is algorithmic. And so for me, I totally was geeking out today, you know, just listening to where it's gonna go. And what I honestly think is gonna happen, and I can't wait for it to happen, is gonna be this integration of customization of your diet, of your, you know, curated sort of, more not formulaic in a bad way, but formulaic in a way to help you achieve your physical and mental health goals around food and our association as people with food, you know, and leveraging AI and, you know, the technology from a hardware and software perspective to make that much more accessible to folks. That is the part I'm super stoked about that. I think we need it as a species, honestly. I think it'll benefit our planet. It'll for sure reduce waste. And so I'm stoked. I'm stoked to see what these organizations and these companies do and how they find a way to build that ecosystem around it. And we'd love to play some small part in it, you know, but yeah, that part is super exciting.